Welcome everyone to the Great Womb Awakening 2. We began this journey 2 years ago in March of 2020, and everybody knows what was happening then. And we've come a long way. So we're going to do it again because I feel like we need more. We need more emphasis on what's going on. And folks need, women especially, anyone with a uterus needs to know what her body was designed to do and how to use it appropriately. So we're just going to start. Let me get us moving here. So the first thing, those of you that have worked with me before, you know what we do before we do anything is we call in sacred space. And the way we do that is we open up the directions and then we dance. So we're going to do that right now. So I'm going to stand. You can stand if you like, but you don't have to. And I'm just going to invite everyone to take a big, deep breath in. And as you exhale, drop your grounding cord, send your roots down through your feet, down, 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 down into the earth. And just feel them reach out, connect with all the vegetation everywhere around you. And then big, deep breath. Inhale, draw that earth energy up through your body, send it up and out through the top of the head, connect with the sacred above us. And then inhale, draw that beautiful divine energy down through your body, send it all the way down into the earth and activate that as above, so below flow. Just feel that moving through your body. Then connecting to that flow, breathing in and breathing out, activate the as within, so without, as the universe, so the soul. Moving to the north, we welcome Mother Earth. We give such great thanks to be in the physical right here, right now, creating and co-creating with the divine. Moving to the south, we welcome water. We welcome clear, clean, current, emotional energy. We welcome love and joy and flow into our circle today. Moving to the west, we welcome air, mind, focus, clarity, all of our ancestors, all of our guides and angels into the circle today. Moving to the east, we welcome fire and movement, passion, inspired, divine right action. Moving to the center, we call in the divine feminine and the divine masculine in sacred right relationship. We reach up, up, up for that highest vibrational essence, and we call that energy down through our bodies, down into our circle. We call up Mama Gaia to pull and magnetize that energy through us. And we welcome our own sweet, extraordinary souls into the circle. We ask that all these energies be with us, pray with us, dance with us today for our mutual benefit. All right, we are gonna move. Give me just a minute here. I will get us some music. Maybe. There we are. Okay, here we go. right. That always feels so good. Okay, so now let's dive in. So I want to remind you what this is about, what this whole process is about. The Great Womb Awakening 2 is just like the Great Womb Awakening 1. Um, yes, Val, I sure would. It is a place where women across the globe and the men who love them are waking up to this undeniable truth. The female body is the most powerful shamanic tool on the planet. We just haven't been taught how to use it. Every woman can utilize the energies of change and expansion present right now to ground a new vision that can serve the next 7 generations and beyond. Women can harness this unprecedented power that lies within their female bodies and unleash that power to create global change at a level never before seen on this planet. And y'all, that's what we were meant to do. That's why we're here. We came here to clean up our mess, and we can do that. And that's what we're going to talk about today. That's what we're going to be talking about all week, is how to access the power that lies within us. Well, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's just keep going. So, as many of you know, we are living in a time of extraordinary growth and expansion on the earth. And there are many, many, many great things happening. And there's this. Now, this has been around since most of us have been here, but it doesn't seem like it's getting any better. In fact, it can feel like it's getting worse. And it may feel like we don't know, we're overwhelmed. We don't know what to do. So today I'm going to give you a few little tidbits and clues, and I'll offer more at the end of the summit. My free gift is a live closing presentation on Sunday morning. And then you're going to get an opportunity to hear from amazing teachers in this field all week long. And they're going to explain to you things you can do to awaken, to make significant change on the planet right now. And it doesn't, I mean, not that these things aren't good. I just want to tell you that it has less to do with what we do out there and more to do with what we do in here. When we take care of this first, then that out there will work. But if we try to do that out there, whether it's marching, whether it's changing laws, whatever it is, and we don't attend to what's inside of us, and we don't reestablish that connection that we all of us, male or female, inherently have with this planet, then all the hard work that we're doing out there is not going to be enough. So, and we've spent a lot of time blaming all of this on everything, on men, on what we grew up knowing, on, having our head in the sand. It doesn't matter. It absolutely doesn't matter why. What's important is that we make change now. And really and truly, the reason that we see all of what's going on out there is because it is a consequence of women going to sleep. Now, that is not said with an ounce of blame. It's just that we didn't know. No one taught us the things I'm going to teach you today. No one told us. Most of us had to find out through the school of hard knocks, if we found out at all. And our mothers didn't know. Their mothers didn't know. The teachings that are slowly drifting to the surface were lost centuries ago. But it doesn't take but a minute to wake them back up. So I've often tried to figure this out because one of my biggest pet peeves is that we've tried to make the feminine mystery practices about things that they're just not about. This is practical stuff. They're not about religion, but we've made it that way, and then we just fight with each other. They're not about ethnicity, but we've made it that way, and we fight with each other. They're not about gender preference, but we've made it that way. And so we spend all this time scuffling with each other when we just need to know a few simple tools, and we need to be more cognizant and conscious of some truths that maybe we didn't know until now. So what all of this conversation is really about is what female bodies were designed to do. Now, I know there's a lot of gender specific kinds of conversations out there. So I'm going to be as clear as I can. If you were born in a body that housed a uterus, no matter what your gender preference is, and no matter whether it's been taken out or not, then your body was designed to hold the balance on this planet. Now, that does not mean that the masculine doesn't have a job here. He does, a very important one. And he can do these practices through his heart space, even through his second chakra. But women, because we have that endocrine system that is supported by our uterus, we were designed to hold the balance here. Our body is open above and open below, and we can draw energy up, tons, massive tons of energy from the earth up through our body and utilize it in ways that we never, that our brothers don't have access to unless they do indigenous practices that give them access. And many of those have been lost to most of them. So our female bodies were designed to do this. They were designed to keep Mother Earth informed of who we are and what we need. And it's done alchemically through our DNA. And it's not for just us, but it's for all of humanity. Right now, we're hovering over the top of this planet, most of us. We don't have that down connection. We are not synced up to the elements with our DNA, most of us. There are a few. Many of my students and many other students of other teachers that teach these practices. But for the most part, we're like ants on her back that are wreaking havoc and causing difficulty to this planet. And she's doing her best to manage us without that connection. So it's time to wake up. That's what this whole week is about. Now, I'm going to share a little bit about my background so you know where I'm coming from. What most of you that have had any contact with me know about me is that I'm a ceremony leader. I'm a fire walker. I'm an energy healer. I teach people how to do those things. I teach people how to be healers. I'm a Reiki master. I'm a pipe carrier, all the things, right? And that's why you come to these classes, because you think that that gives me a little credibility, maybe. But this is the me that you know. This is the me you see. But y'all, there's another me. I gotta get Carrie's picture in here. So that me was born asleep, and she was born into an asleep family. I love these people. These people are good people. They did their very best to raise me and give me all the good things, all the good training, all the good teaching that they knew. But they were asleep too. Nobody knew this stuff. So none of this is said with anger or blame. It is all said with, this is just what we got. This is how we landed. This is where we were when we got here. And I'm here to fill in the gaps. So from this perspective, I start, lucky for me, Mother Earth had a different plan. And no matter how entrenched in religion I was, she wasn't going to not let me wake up. So this has been happening for all of us, because cosmically, this awakening has been happening for about 70 some odd years, a little bit longer, as the planet has ended and yet begun another 26,000 year cycle. We've moved into alignment with what some people call the Great Womb. It's that black hole that exists above this planet where we were birthed from. This happens every 26,000 years. And this is the most populated this planet has ever been that we know of when this has happened. So when all that began to happen, we all started to wake up. We all started to have experiences that seem out of the ordinary, that didn't really jive with maybe how we were raised or what we were used to. Some of us just took it to a little bit of an extreme. So I began my work as a therapist and as the executive director of a domestic violence shelter. I was a survivor of domestic violence, and my lifelong quest was to find tools to help women heal. So I actually tripped over the feminine mysteries when I was doing that work, and really didn't dive in deeply till even years later. So I didn't really get to practice till I was 45 years old. And, it was going downhill really quick then. I can still remember my last bleed, and I still mourn it. I wish that I had gotten to practice longer. But I have spent the rest of my life being driven by this thought. What if I had known? What if I'd been practicing all my life? And what if there were others like me who did? What would our world be like? Queen Afua, she was my original teacher way back 30 some odd, 40 some odd years ago. And she tells us that when women begin to connect their wombs to the earth and utilize their wombs the way they were intended, begin to care for them, the earth will heal. So what I'm going to give you, and this has been a long time coming for me, and I know some of you may have heard this before, so I'm going to add a little twist. I'm going to give you some of the things that your body can do. What I'm getting ready to share is what I call the talk, and it's the one we should have received when we were little bitty girls, when we were 10 years old, when we were young and eager, and we thought our mothers were goddesses and we couldn't wait to be just like them. You know, by the time a girl gets to bleeding age, she doesn't want to hear any of this. We have to groom them when they're young, because many of these teachings are so far removed from modern day culture that they seem old and archaic, but they are so necessary. And they don't, well, we'll get to that in a minute. So this is called womb training. Everyone's going to get a little taste of this today. And yes, there will be other places that you can get more of this later. So what I want you to know is that women are sitting on a power keg and we don't even know it. This giant power tool does what she does. Once you turn her on, once she turns on, when we begin our bleeding cycle, she's on. And she never turns off. She just does what she does. And she does it tirelessly and constantly behind the scenes and under our awareness, unless we're conscious. And because we may not be consciously aware of what she's doing or how she works, her work may be benefiting us, or her work may be causing us a lot of pain and suffering. But when we know, we can harness the energy to use it in amazing ways. So yes, I'm going to use the template of a medicine wheel because our body functions just like the earth functions. And I'm just going to give you a little taste of some of the things that your feminine body and your womb can do. Now, one of the really cool things that she does, and this is pretty obvious, she holds things. You know, she's a container. She holds anything you put in there. And once a month, she is filled with your blood. Your blood is the Akashic record. Your blood houses all of your DNA, all of your ancestry, all of your past life experiences, the past life experiences of your ancestors, and on and on and on. Yeah, absolutely, Sarah, absolutely. So yeah, she is the Holy Grail, right? It's all in there. And she records it. So every single event in your life, in your kids' life, in your grandparents' life, all of it is recorded in your womb, in your blood, and it just hangs out there. And we can have access to that if we want it. And sometimes that's a good thing, to know that it's in there and to have access to it. And you can plant seeds of what you want to hold, what you want to create, what you came here to do. You can plant all those seeds in this seed bed. Or sometimes in a little girl's life, when she has experiences that she doesn't understand, that she may not have words for, that may be scary or harmful or hurtful, those go in here too. And that, she may not even be consciously aware with the mind, but she is in here. And so all of this is being held in your body all the time, even those memories. The other thing that your body amazingly does is it receives, it magnetizes things. So whatever you're holding down here, your body is magnetizing more of it, drawing more of it to you. Once again, that can be great. If you can hold your focus and you can plant really good seeds in here, then you can grow and manifest amazing things. But if other things were planted in here, then maybe things that magnetize to you aren't necessarily the most comfortable. Can go either way. But would you agree that, mostly if we got any conversation from our parents, it was, here's how to keep the blood from getting on your clothes. This is what you use, and this happens so you can have a baby. And that's all true. And we needed that information, but there's so much more. So here we are. We're holding all of this information. We're magnetizing all of this stuff to us, one good or bad. Another thing that our womb does and our body does is birth things. She gives birth to anything that happens on this planet. She gives birth to babies. She gives birth to businesses. She gives birth to ideas. She gives birth to organizations. She gives birth to forests of trees. She can birth anything, right? So, and then, all of this, and this is probably the most, one of the most magnificent things of all, and something that we really aren't consciously aware of most of the time. Our womb space is an energy generator. Think of everything it takes to do all of this. How? How can we do that? How can we do this and take care of the kids and take care of the house and go to work and come home and manage the finances, all of that? How? Because our body can generate and draw in more energy than our male counterparts ever dreamed of drawing in. And it's because we house this container inside of us. Now, all of this turns on when we start bleeding. So it's like there's a big switch that gets tripped. And if we have been schooled in how to manage this, then we can go on. Crystal, I'm going to address that in just 1 second. And we actually have a speaker today that's going to talk about that. So all of this turns on. So, and the reason I emphasize this before I even get to the next piece is that because young women aren't schooled in this information, and because they're not taught to anchor their blood into the ground and offer it to the earth and let the earth entrain them, there's no alchemical tether to any kind of wisdom. They're just out here on their own, flailing around, rebelling against their parents, doing anything and everything, and making choices that don't necessarily serve them because of maybe things that happened to them when they were children. And now they're magnetizing difficult relationships or things that happened to them in a previous life or early on. And then they magnetize all of this chaos and they spend the next 20 years cleaning it up. That was me. And that doesn't have to be true. We can change all of that. Now, the other cool thing about this, yes, we're going to talk about that in just a minute, about menopause. In fact, we're going to talk about it right now. So all this turns on at puberty. It all works whether you have a physical womb or not. So even if you've had a hysterectomy, it still works because you have the energetic apparatus still in there. It works whether you can bear children or not. It doesn't turn off at menopause. It literally expands, coagulates, and takes over our being. And we're going to talk about, when I introduce everyone, one of our speakers today speaks directly to menopause and what it really and truly is. But add this to the mix. Our body is a celestial portal. So just like a stargate, we can literally allow a being from another dimension, the spiritual realm, to come into our body and be birthed into physical form. And depending on what we're holding, that's going to affect the information they have access to in our womb. So it behooves us to clear this space, doesn't it? Yes, absolutely, Valerie. It matters not if you've had kids, your womb is for birthing anything. So hysterectomies, menopause, the only thing, there are many, many, many blessings about observing your bleeding time. And when menopause comes, if you are in the rhythm of that practice, you can continue to practice. But there is a definite connection to the blood. because it's life-giving blood. Think about this. Most of the blood that hits the planet these days comes from war, comes from battle, comes from horrible, horrendous things. And that is the information that lands on her. That is the DNA she's reading. But when a woman offers her life-giving blood back to the earth, she gets to read a different story. She gets to process what's really going on here. And she will work with us in dramatic, profound ways to make and affect the changes that we need here. So I ask you, what if you had known just this much? There's so much more I could share with you, but I want to give our other speakers time. I want you to have time today to listen to all of them. But what if you had been practicing all your life? And what if there were thousands, millions of other women like you? What if this wasn't a thing that we had to teach people? What if we all just did it, just like getting up and eating in the morning and brushing our teeth and going to sleep when it's dark? What if this was normal? What would our world be like then? All of us have the power to shift the trajectory of this planet right now. We can all plant these seeds. So Wendy, I love this question. You know, there are a lot of women, and Wendy asks, how do you share your blood with the earth if you're past bleeding time? You don't. I mean, that's the long and short of it. You go out there and teach other women to do it. And you observe the menstrual cycle of the moon. So you do a ceremony at the new moon, every moon, and you go out and you pray. I teach women in my high priestess class how to do a coming of age ceremony for themselves that dedicates their body and their blood to the earth. We just use a glass of wine because we don't have it anymore. And so there's a lot of women, when they hear all of what they missed out on, they spend a little time grieving and mourning that they couldn't do more. But it doesn't mean we're impotent. What it means is that we've got our work cut out for us. We have to teach other women to do these practices. And, you know, lots of women will suggest peeing on the ground, clearing your hairbrushes outside. I mean, any way you can get your DNA connected to the earth, go outside barefoot every day in your yard so she knows who you are. If you plant a garden, hold your seeds in your mouth, as long as they don't have chemicals on them, for a few minutes before you put them in the ground. And she'll be able to read your DNA and put in those vegetables what your body needs. Lots of old-time gardeners use that trick. So there's plenty of ways to connect yourself, to be creative, but we're not going to be able to offer our blood if we're not bleeding anymore. Okay, let's see here. Yeah, Jessica says, I've heard women who are called menopausal called keepers of the blood. It is quite powerful. Yeah, okay. Good, good, good. So today, other people we have on deck. Now, I'm going to give you the mechanics of how this works. I've gotten a lot of emails and I want you to understand. First of all, while I'm talking, I want everybody to write this down exactly like you see it. This is what you can type into your browser. If for some reason a link doesn't work or it takes you some crazy place, type this into your browser. It will take you to the event schedule page, which will look like this. And somebody's unmuted. I'm gonna mute you all. I hear birds. Somebody's outside. Okay, so today, Kaylin Castell is joining us again, the Great Womb Awakening 2.0. So she's going to be telling us more about what I alluded to in the beginning, about this 26,000 year cycle shift. So I love this. I've heard there will be a time when men will be willing to give up power to the women. I, for one, am ready to do that now. Bless your heart. We love you. We're glad you're here. And we need more men like you on this planet. Thank you for being here. So Kaylin's going to tell you more about what's going on here, why all of this is happening, and why it's so important that we begin to access this information for ourselves now. Lainey Love Dalby, and just FYI, as soon as we get finished here today, and this should say 12 a.m. or 12 p.m., not 10 a.m. As soon as we get finished here today, while mine is downloading, I'm going to go in. I know it says 12 p.m., but I'm going to go in and open all these up. So give me 5 or 10 minutes once we finish, and you'll be able to have access to all of them. And even though it says 10 a.m. on all of the rest of the days, it'll probably be 8 a.m. So they'll be open early, but this is how it works. All of these are pre-recorded, and I will load them up so you can watch them, and they'll be free to you for 48 hours. So you can watch them all day today and all day tomorrow. Then tomorrow, I'm going to open up 5 more, and you can watch them all day tomorrow and all day the next day. And these will drop off on Wednesday. And it'll just continue like that throughout the week. If you want access to all of them forever, sign up for lifetime access before tomorrow night at midnight, and the price goes up. So today, Lainey Love Dalby, oh my goodness, she's talking about awakening our ecstatic womb and awakening our ecstatic body. Oh, you can, such an inspiration. You cannot miss it. For those of you with the questions of menopause, Alexandra Pope, co-founder of the Red School, is going to be talking to us about menopause, the Great Awakener. And then Jules Wingfield will close us out with Wombdala, leading from deep listening. Oh, all of these are so scrumptious. I don't miss any of them. Watch them all and be ready for more tomorrow. If you have any questions, if you need help, I will try to sit by my computer and make sure. I'll check in periodically. But they all should be up and ready to go in just a little bit. There we go. So this morning when I was getting ready, I just threw it out there and just asked, what do they need to know? And years ago, Maggie came in and said this to me, and I'm just going to share it with you again. This is what we all need to know and take to heart and activate, and utilize right now. The information, the tools necessary to make the radical shift needed on this planet in a very short period of time are housed within the wombs of the women of this age. That still gives me chills. She gave this to me in 2005. You have the ability to heal your planet and save your world. It's up to you. Do you desire to keep this beautiful haven a safe place for the next 7 generations and beyond? Do you desire a place for your children to grow and learn? You know, many of us on this call are pushing the edge of menopause or are way on beyond it. And I started teaching these practices back in 2002. And I taught people then, I'm not teaching this for you. We're done on the planet for the most part. I'm teaching this to you so you can teach your kids. You can teach your daughters. Because if we don't, these teachings are going to go away. And so will the planet. We can't destroy 50% of all life on this planet. That's where we are now. And if you want to hear more about that, Friday, tune into Brooke Medicine Eagle, and she'll share. We have annihilated, single-handedly, humanity has annihilated 50% of the species that were living here before we got here. We have got to slow this down. We've got to turn it around, and we can. So dive deep this week, y'all. Dive deep, soak it in, and then come with your questions on Sunday morning, and we'll do this again. So we're going to dance to close ourselves out. Yeah, you should. You should gather other women around you, Elise, and do it. Here we go. Yes, and Valerie, that's why I'm still here, honey. Elise, call a girlfriend and share the summit with her. That's where you start. Send her the link. You just start. That's what we do. We just start. I didn't know where to start either. We just start. Okay, here we go. Let's get up and move.
while you're in the car. Not when we're in the car.
All right, ladies. So good to have all of you on the call, and give me about 5 minutes and we'll get everyone else up. Hang on here. I'm going to cancel that. You're so welcome, Jody. We're going to stop the share so we can see everyone. And I will see you all very soon. I'll get everybody loaded here in just a little bit.